just the best.
The great thing about D.Va is everything.
Yeah,
well,
really
there's a reason why she's in most compositions nowadays in 2019 and 2018 and 2017. And the list goes on.
The list goes on.
We're getting into game here. Second gen. Gonna be sitting here on top in a very heavy anchor comp where we've seen Shadows do incredible amounts of work in this very setup.
We've seen a lot of work done from here, and I like Eclipse's setup here. He's looking for the nade. He gets 3, Bud's very low, but he's not going to be able to rotate. Are they going to hunt for him? Oh, he's so hurt. I don't think they're going to get him though.
They really wanted to, and the problem is their composition is just uniquely one that is not very good at chasing down a kill, even with Buds being at 1 HP.
No, it is not. It's pretty much all on Bibop to go chase down those frags. And you see they're rotating through the space. And space now makes sense because you want to remove them from the high ground. You can also take the fight directly into them. But it seems like Skyfoxes actually are just going to try to go to the point, send people there, and then follow up. But Coleman already low. He's displaced.
Oh, he's displaced and eating Ash bullets directly to the back. Shadows, though, pressured a little bit far out there, but not before FaZe is getting a demect. Meanwhile, you take a look at Sox. He doesn't care about the Zarya bubble. He's got burn Buds right down. This Coleman, he's, you know, get a little bit tired.
And the real problem is FaZe is demeched. And when FaZe is demeched, that means Shadows and Sox can do whatever they want. And Eclipse, they're pretty much unable to be touched. They can't be countered. When there's no D.Va on the field, no mech, that means the second generation are a lot more free to get that damage out.
Are you telling me that Buds charging the Bastion with the shield up was not actually a high percentage
questionable
play?
It was, but also, I mean, they were probably just looking to reset. At that point, there was no way that they could win the fight. So they were really just too split. The D.Va was out of FaZe, out of mech. So second gen, they've held on for that first push. They already have D.Va bomb. They're coming up on several others. And, you know, they're in a pretty good position. The nade's out again.
Nade immediately on the FaZe, and this is where you apply even more pressure to the D.Va. Problem is, of course, that Skyfoxes, they turn the corner, and that's going to be that. But
the thing is, they need to be taking the fight into them, in my book. I don't think you go to point. I think you're running Reinhardt. Just take the fight into them, you know? Just take the fight. Get the ults out if that's what needs to happen, but if you go to point, it's just more likely that someone gets caught.
Well, they're going to be going directly to point. They have disregarded your advice. They say, no, sir, we don't need it, as Coleman's shield completely shattered, and guess what? Calling in the heavy artillery. Tank mode coming out, although this is one of those weird spots where I feel like turret mode was better here, even though it does catch last strike.
It was, and honestly, they've rotated to the point, but the crazy thing is they just come back on high ground. Second gen weren't prepared for that rotation at all. They get caught by the split, and Skyfoxes now, they're going to cap very, very soon.
I really feel like that was a situation where the left mouse button hold was a better move than the Q key.
Yes, I think I agree as well. I mean, honestly, Bastion's ult is definitely one of the weaker ults in the game. It just, you know, there's not really very much objective advantages to the turret form other than being mobile. And they just, but really, second gen had to watch for that split. They break the shield, and they needed to know that they were going to try to come back up on them. They weren't sitting on point anymore. Second generation weren't watching.
Second gen doesn't go into a 3-3 set. They put Sox on the Pharah. I mean, maybe this is all because they really value Bob as an ultimate. It is one of the stronger ults in the game, but it's weird that they're still running this in point B.
I mean, also, they just can, I mean, it seems like so far they've just been supremely not confident in their 3-3 play. So they would much rather play setups where they can enable Shadows and Sox to play things that they're more comfortable on.
So, I mean, their game plan here is they look to the next fight, just look to Shadows to land a good Bob. He's under heavy pressure, he's down! FaZe takes him down. Bob's not going to be coming to the fight. Ash is there. He has no reason to defend. Sox, though, moving in. Got the nano. Doesn't get a whole lot out of it. Skyfox just being methodical, taking down second gen one by one, still at the full 6. And the bomb here from FaZe makes even more room, gets Eclipse on the top.
You know, the craziest part is that he was slept, they bombed him, then he comes out of sleep, bombs, and still catches Eclipse.
This is such good control coming in for Skyfoxes right now. Shadows is down again. I mean, Bob came out, Bob away. Didn't really do a whole lot on the end. Okay, what is that? That is a grab.
Trying to snipe Sox. They were trying to snipe Sox there.
Apparently, and you know, as it turns out, they didn't need the grab.
They did not, and they didn't get a lot of value. The Ferris swap did not get barrage in time. You really had to get barrage and have it set up. They didn't also have a combo play for the Bob. So there's no defensive ults. Remember, when you're running on a Mercy, you don't have a beat, you don't have a trance, there's no defensive ult to sustain yourself. So, unlucky at all aspects. And also, maybe you shouldn't be caught by a D.Va bomb after you've slept and set up the bomb on the aforementioned D.Va.
Probably not. Also, I mean, you take a look at that from second gen. I thought their first defense was good up until the point where, you know, I do think that using Bastion ult at times can really be a wrong decision that looks like a good decision. But throwing that to the side, I'm just not convinced by second gen staying on a DPS heavy comp for point B. There's a reason why teams don't swap to it. It's because it's actually really hard to get decisive point B holds with something where you can lose players left, right, and center pretty easily.
For sure. And that was also a very fast time for Skyfoxes. 3:56.
Yeah.
For the time bank. That's very, very fast for Horizon. Just fast for Assault in general. And now second generation are going to have to work their magic, and they're really relying very much because we know that Shadows will be coming out on this Widow or Sombra, whichever one first, more than likely. Second generation, you know, they're not prone to running 3-3. They need to get a solid first point cap and have ults to move on to second because their comp, the triple DPS comp, breaks down as soon as you don't have this fight-winning ults like EMP.
Very much so, and you know, you take a look at second generation here, and even if they get point A quickly, the composition they're running here, I mean, it can snowball into point B, but it's not really likely. So they're going to have to go to something tankier for point B no matter what, and that's where I feel like even if the point A attack is good, Skyfoxes will have a very good point B defense.
See now the aggression coming forward. Shadows just peeking, looking for a shot.
And Bip is applying pressure to the point early on there.
Which is good. I mean, that's what they need. They need Boger and Bip applying a lot of pressure.
Well, Sox is down. The anti-air fire strike, when you least expect it, just rips him out of the sky. They're going to get the res off for it, but res, of course, down. Sox still...
And Bip Bob's still getting pressure on the point here.
He's got to take for free.
This is the problem here, is that Skyfoxes need to commit. They need to find something to fight. They need to pressure the point. They have to make a decision because when they're rotating around through high ground, the longer it lasts, the more split they are. Second generation getting more value.
Also, the more they rotate, the more shots and Shadows is going to be able to land directly into the back. Shadows right now hanging over. Has a free shot. Could have gotten the Zen. Doesn't quite convert on it, but Skyfox is looking pretty discombobulated. This next tick could be free.
Shadows doing a lot of damage here. Skyfox is moving back towards the point as Shadows still looking, drops that Infosite. Sox close to the barrage. Bibbob also about to have the EMP, but if you burn both those ults here, it's tough to move to second for second gen.
Oh, so close, yet so... Oh, still gets phased. The aid of Bip. Just when you think FaZe is going to turn the corner, get back into his mech, it does not happen. Second gen, the time to go in is now. And more importantly, as Shadows hits the shots, Bip gets to hold on to the EMP.
Yeah, I mean, holding on to the EMP is great, but it has to be a really, really good EMP for this next fight because the problem is Skyfoxes are coming up on their beat. They're coming up on grab, they're coming up on rally, so you're gonna have to deny very early. Gonna have to deny probably Buds or Horthic or one of the two, and make sure that those ults can't come out during the fight.
The other thing too is that even though EMP is good here, you don't want to force this readily. You have 6 minutes. You have plenty of time. Make sure that this EMP gets something here. Don't feel under crazy pressure to just drop it and go. Well, the EMP is going to be dropped. It hits Horthic and Cloman directly, but it does lead to Horthic going down immediately. It gives him a solid man
advantage. They didn't listen to your voice. They go to set up the EMP. The grab goes out in main, and now they can't touch point. Can they clean up the grab?
And the answer to that is, right now, it's not the best of grabs. And you're going to see second gen. They get phase. Pressure's going to be coming back over, but Skyfoxes haven't taken mortal damage here yet. Clement, though, under heavy pressure, that could be mortal. And the barrier from Mac, pretty ill-timed.
Yeah, it was too late. They weren't able to save Clement. Lasher picks up Sock. Mac might be able to go down in main, but no. He's going to be cleaned up. Horthic's deep on the back line. Shadows picks up Lasher, but I think this fight is still going the way of Skyfoxes.
Well, it is. I mean, also part of it is that where's your point pressure at?
Yeah,
even when you're
zero.
You got a few good pickoffs there. Were you ever really threatening to the point? No.
And it's weird because Boger drops the mines too, and you don't see any point presence ever come out.
And second gen, I mean, they've used a good deal of ult pressure here, and they're going to stay on this composition. I mean, this is very much a sign of how little they want to run a 3-3.
I mean, they got first so fast where they have some time to make it work. They can definitely be looking to get this EMP barrage up soon. Mac doesn't have beat, but they need to set up the EMP barrage. This is realistically, the entirety of their composition is going to be based around setting up the EMP barrage here.
And they're taking their time to set it up. I just think that this is going to end in a situation where second gen ends up swapping out the DPS comp, but it's entirely
too late. Yeah, it might be entirely too late. Both teams still doing the poke. You see the EMP barrage. They're both up. And here comes second gen moving in. The anti's out, but they get 2 picks.
Okay, 2 picks on here. This is winnable. Now for Skyfoxes, yeah, you have 4 people back. Oh, Horthic off the rotation somehow gets Eclipse. That's such a big move. Moving in, they're going to drop the EMP. They're looking for FaZe and Clone Man. Only going to be getting FaZe off of it. Still winnable, but again, It's also not decisive.
No, there's no way they could win now. The Nano Horthic, it's unbeatable.
They do get 96.9. They came dangerously close. They really did, but Skyfoxes also had the ability to contest all the while. It was actually pretty good restraint on their part.
It was. I think second gen actually made a good initial push. The problem is Felty got disconnected from Eclipse, who got pushed by FaZe. If Eclipse had lived, they were in a great position. They don't get the tick? Ooh. That's unfortunate.
No, they got 2 ticks. I mean, if they
got
the
what was I saying? That third tick, they would have capped.
That would have been the best.
My brain shut off. My brain shut off.
Like, yes, they didn't get the tick.
They did not. That is actually how it works. Yes. That's how the map works. You are correct.
Well, speaking of how the map works right now, Shadows trying to work the headshots on the other side. Boger able to get back again, so the pressure from second gen, more surprisingly effective than expected. Skyfoxes, they don't have buffer room to work on. FaZe, though, gets 2. Still workable here, but Skyfoxes are under pressure. Clowman under very heavy pressure, healed up, getting matrixed all the while, still somehow alive, gets healed back up. Bip in a rough spot, has to translocate out, and the Skyfoxes actually fight their way back in.
And FaZe getting those 2 picks were so important there. Clowman living. I mean, there's just not enough cleanup for second generation. There isn't enough to sustain on the point to win, to brawl afterwards. Even with those, if anything goes wrong, if they lose a single person for second generation and they don't have those ult up, then it's done. It's over. They can't win the resulting fight. So second gen, they're going to be making the swaps now, keeping BitBob though on the Sombra.
And you wonder when people wonder why things like 3-3 are so strong in Overwatch and why 3-3 is still going to be the meta next patch in all likelihood. And it's because, you know what? It's resilient. And you don't have to worry about things like losing a team fight if you get the first 2 picks. You're just going to be strong enough to finish it out. DPS comps, not as much.
You have so many impactful ults. You have so much healing. BitBob goes in. He was looking for the EMP. They actually bash him, force him to go back. You see Skyfoxes now, while BitBob is translocated out, they're trying to be so much pressure on a Boger.
Bip sleeping on the other side. Meanwhile, Skyfox is cleaning up the rest. They might just be sitting Bip for last. No, Bip's going to teleport out. A warning to the others, as it were. And second gen now, this is kind of the worst of all worlds where, to their credit, they came close to getting the cap. But now, they swap late.
They've stymied. They've been stymied. I mean, it really is what goes back to what I said at the beginning. You know, if you don't manage to snowball it onto second immediately with those ults, then you're in a terrible position from there.
And bear in mind, second gen, they still have to finish this out with at least 1 second left on the clock, or they lose the series by brawl.
Yep.
So overtime is not a thing for them here.
Yeah, they're in a rough position. And also this spam coming out from the supports for the Skyfoxes. Mac moving BitBob out of that translocation.
Oh, it catches Bip. There's not going to be an EMP. The Bionade just seals the deal. 4-man bio after the shatter. That is an alternative way to spell dead.
That is a very, very big Bionade. You know, it's crazy. We've talked about how strong Lastro is on the Ana, and he moves to it at every opportunity possible. He's actually really, really good at keeping the Sombra comp in check. It's one of those viable alternatives that people have run, where you run the Ana instead of the Xin when Sombra's out, because, you know, it's harder for you to get picked because you're not playing Xin, and also you're able to do more. You know, your nades and heals aren't going to get eaten since there's no D.Va on the field. So, and he makes it work.
Skyfoxes with a tremendous ult advantage right now. Now, EMP, it is the great equalizer. One good EMP kind of laughs in the face of an ult advantage. One of the few ults in the game to really do that. We'll see what Bip is going to do here. His setup, the most important right now for second gen. Skyfox is just going to rally, keep themselves alive. Clubman weathering the storm. And here comes Bip, rotating around the back. He's looking for the big EMP that just isn't there. Skyfoxes are really expertly spread.
Yeah, this is a great spread from Skyfox. You see Viv, he's hiding, he's looking, but he can't find anything.
Okay. Well, this is why Clayman was off on his own. They knew they had the nano in their back pocket to support the spread. Barrier comes in right after, gonna be mitigating the worst of the EMP. That was such a smart setup by Skyfox. They do lose buds though. It's not perfect, but they fight back. Clayman taking for a bit of a ride here, under heavy pressure, buying time, finally falls. Orthic in trouble here on the point. Second gen, the EMP setup still might be enough. The Boger slept. Lastro buying key time. They're gonna have members coming back onto the point. Buds is back. The Graviton locked and loaded. Pulls in 2. And the Skyfox is moving over. And more importantly here, if they bought enough time, they could lose this fight. And they're still going to win the series. So this is just really the cherry on top if they're able to defend this here. Because either way, the series is theirs.
Yeah, either way, the series is there. The Nano's out. This is gonna be a cleanup. You know, BitBob was absolutely bullied there. He gets slept, then Cloven comes back and drops the shatter on him, so he enters the animation for going back to standing, sitting down. That's going to be Skyfoxes holding, winning the series 3-0.
I got to say, all in all, That was a really absolutely fantastic way of playing around the EMP there. That was clean.
I know. I mean, I agree. I agree 100%. Skyfoxes, they know how to play around it. And really, you just play so spread that you can't find any value. Because the most obvious target generally is your Zen for EMP, but they're not playing Zen. They're playing Ana. They're playing far back in the spawn. They're playing so split as well that even solo EMP there wouldn't be worth.
Well, the Ana is the key part there, where you're wondering, why don't teams always play like that? That was uniquely enabled by Nano Boost. Because if Cloman ever got into trouble, you had Lastro sitting on there saying, I'm going to nano him, would they actually come in and dive? So no matter what, they had a plan set up there. And again, it's a unique aspect of Nano in that situation, but it's rare that I see something where I'm like, wow, that's super neat. I think that was one of those times.
The thing is, it's definitely not necessarily new. It's a strat that's been devised before, but Skyfoxes just were playing it very well.
The execution.
The execution was really good because the concept of running the Ana to have the nano boost and playing to a split to where it makes the EMP less valuable is definitely something we've seen previously. But Skyfoxes just have a very good iteration of it, and especially when you have an Ana as talented as Lastro.
And also, I mean, it took good work from Cloman there, right? Where Cloman had to continually sort of get out of his comfort zone where he's not having the support he normally has. And he still had to figure out, okay, what's the right mix between heading out, taking barrier damage, taking a little bit of HP damage, and backing out, because you don't want to get bursted to where Nano comes out really early, because then the entire plan is done. You need to make sure that when Nano comes out, it's because they are fully investing on diving on you. So you do have to give props to Cloman there and how he handled it.
For sure. And I think that Cloman's been having a great series so far. He's been having a very, very good series. That is going to be the third map going the way of Skyfoxes. It's actually, the series is over. They've won, but they still have one more map to go. And second generation, it's unlikely now that they could still make a run to the playoffs. But if they get this map win and win all the rest of their series, it's possible. So there is still something on the line.
Depending on the math works, they actually might be eliminated now. We'd have to go back and check.
We'd have to go check, but we don't have all the math.
It's either one of two things. They're either eliminated or
not.
They require like the most ridiculous fairy tale scenario to make playoffs that's relevant. So they're effectively eliminated.
You know, I believe in miracles.
I mean, that would, miracles plural being the case. Not just one miracle,
I
but
believe in miracles.
Multiple miracles happening one after the other after the other.
I've seen it happen.
Well, you know, we'll just have to see. But obviously, if they...
I've watched Chengdu almost beat Vancouver, okay? I've seen miracles happen.
That wasn't a miracle. That was the birth of just the beefiest, most intimidating Reinhardt of our time.
Yeah,
that's what that was. There was no miracle behind that.
True beef.
That was pure science.
That was science. Cold, hard science.
That was cold, hard science.
That was cold, hard science, huh?
Regardless, we're getting in the Junkertown here. Skyfoxes, of course, would like to finish this out on a clean 4-0.
They would. They would definitely like, because also they can still play for seeding. And you know, the better seed you have, the deeper run in the playoffs you can make. And, you know, the stakes that they're playing for is not just having a great run in Contenders playoffs, but if you're one of those top 3 and A teams, you can go to the Atlantic Showdown and then earn your way into the Gauntlet.
Very much so, and I mean, that is really what all the players are focused on here, where I think most teams would argue that winning the season Contenders, but not doing well in the Atlantic Showdown would, you know, be a huge disappointment. They'd much rather get in than do well, but we're getting into it already. Good bot. Out of the fight, both teams getting into it pretty early, as second gen being pretty aggro on this defense. This is second gen being pretty aggro on the offense. Skyfoxes being aggro.
And Skyfox is making the right move. You can't play passive when second generation are running this composition. You need to be constantly fighting around the cart, looking for those picks. Bud's going to get the hack. The sleep is also out, but that's just going to be Felty getting the res.
Res coming on up here, and I mean, Skyfoxes, what they're doing right now, they're buying a good amount of time, even though this is definitely going second generation's way. We're in the age-old example of there's losing and there's losing well. And Skyfoxes, even though they've been on the back foot here, they've been losing well.
Lastro is going to get that pick, or is going to get picked, I should say, by Shadows. And now with that, the sustain down, with that Ana hurt, Porthic as well getting caught, this should be the slow but steady fight win for second generation.
Definitely feeling like it right now. Porthic, of course, out of the fight. Skyfoxes.
Skyfoxes are going to have to make a move here. They're going to get staggered and staggered.
Yeah, I'm trying to, it's like, you got to back out anytime soon. No, we're going to choose the Omega Stagger for 200.
Yeah, that is a really long stagger, in fact, because the cart was being moved the entire time. They've only just pushed back their own contest. And second generation, you know, they don't have their fight-winning ult yet. They don't have the EMP. But you know, something that could be even more impactful is that Eclipse has Tire.
Well, as you say that, on cue, Tire. Not out here for second gen. It even gets just one. It's worth, but Tire in progress gets two.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's all they needed.
That's a point.
That is 100% a point. You see Skyfoxes moving towards
the
cart, just going to die on point. Wait.
I don't. They still at that point I feel like could have backed out. Like what?
No. Dying on the point's fine because they were already committed. The interesting part was Shadows also committed Infrasight in a fight that was over. I don't know what. I mean, Infrasight's a pretty cheap ult. It's not a, it's not a huge deal. You're not playing the Widow Wars where you're worried about the double sniper, but
you can't build your next Infrasight if you're holding on to one right now.
That's a true fact. Now Skyfoxes, this is their time to win the approaching fight. They do have beat. They do have EMP. They're going to have to mitigate, though, the value of this EMP barrage that's going to be available for second generation.
Second gen right now, definitely working with all the advantages, to be sure. Meanwhile, Bud's going to drop the EMP right away. Counter EMP out from Bip. And it's Felty. Pays the price. Skyfoxes get the better of the EMP trade out there, and now they just get to roll over and retake control of the point. That was
a really smart EMP from Buds. He pretty much solo EMPs Felty and Sox, bringing them to Earth, getting those pickoffs. Second generation now, they're going to have to think about, do we stay? We used EMP. How do we set up our barrage? They have to think about that. You see Sox sitting in the spawn.
It's a hard choice, as you see him just sitting there.
They definitely have to make those swaps. So, I mean, unfortunate that that BitBob, I mean, I guess he was hoping to use the EMP immediately after instead of the barrage, but everyone's already hacked. They can't use ults anyways.
And if you're Skyfoxes, you look at this and you go, yep, we're in a fantastic situation. Because second gen, they just don't look anywhere near as good on this sort of composition.
They definitely don't. And Skyfoxes also have the overall ult advantage moving into the fight. We see the rally investment of Horthic. Lasher, he's looking for the anti. He gets two. And right now they're just moving in.
And Bionade, it's enough. They're there for the fall through immediately. Sox the price to pay after the good Bionade. And Skyfox is just being clinical in the setup here where, okay, they lose Clone Man towards the very end, but he'll be back before the next fight, especially with the stagger there towards the very end.
And the best part for Skyfoxes is that they're going to have the EMP Shatter coming up very soon. They still have both support ults. Second generation are having to build all of theirs in return. So there's just not a lot on the board, not a lot available for them.
Not quite, and Buds, all this is an EMP building. He doesn't quite land the last few bullets and get up there. And oh my goodness, what a Bionade.
No follow-up really possible though right now for Skyfoxes.
No, but I mean for Lastro, still feel good about landing 4 purples all together there. Bionade about to be back up. Skyfoxes, EMP is all set up. EMP going to turn out the lights, and Lastro right there. Bionade follow through, and Clone, he got hacked so he doesn't shatter, but that turns out to be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, if anything, not Buzz, actually, Shadows actually just made the choice for him and saved his shatter. So that's great, because they'll have it for next fight. That's the fight win. Good EMP from Buds. And second generation, they're starting to, the time is slowly but surely ticking down. They're going to have their support ult soon. They still need that EMP.
Second gen just doesn't look good running this sort of setup. I mean, this we kind of went into is that there's a reason why they're running DPS setups, and it's because when they have to play the style, the essential meta style that we've been seeing this entire time, it's not really ideal for them. Oh man, gonna get the nano, saves him, lets him just step on up, drop the shatter, puts Chrono in a bad spot, forces out Transcendence from second gen. On the other side, Bionade out, Bip and Sox feeling the pressure here, but Bip just shrugs up, takes down Clone Man. And second gen now might be able to rotate this fight. Skyfox is down Orion. Not a lot of tools to actually bring this one back.
No, there isn't, and Shadow still has the EMP Mac. He has to hide. He's not able to hide. You see the bombs out, and they move any barriers.
Oh! Huge! That is insane! The EMP combo coming up just at the last moment.
Yeah, that was better than Mac hiding for the beat. They know they had the bomb. Buds is back with the EMP. Remove Chronodonna's shield. Bip-Off, he can't bubble. That's 3K. That's a hold. That's a really good
That's
play.
Dagger in the hearts.
That is. I mean, it's the last fight. Shadows has EMP, so once again, Mac cannot be caught by EMP. Shadows is going to be looking for him.
I mean, Mac so far has done a pretty good job of just being in a spot where Shadows isn't going to go, yeah, I would like to EMP the solo Lucio, so probably going to be fine. I mean, the real danger here is that Skyfox is engaged before Shadows even drops EMP, and they might be looking for that right now.
I'm surprised they didn't go for it while Shadows was actually forced that translocate.
Well, man, under a lot of pressure right now. EMP comes out just to seal the deal. Mac isn't caught, he barriers, but the barrier, of course, not in time to save Clone Man.
And this should be a fight win. Mac's going to go down. There's too many picks available. Mac, he doesn't get caught with the EMP. He's able to get the beat off. but Coleman was already down before the fight started.
So point B, gonna be going the way of the second gen here, but they bleed enormous amounts of time on point B.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little less than a minute and a half for second generation moving here onto the last. See them taking the high ground, gonna try to get the spam, build up that grab, build up the EMP. Skyfox is gonna be moving forward. I imagine they're just gonna only try to invest this old as Bip. He's caught in. Can they get him?
And right now, he doesn't really have a whole lot of places to go aside from spawn. And that's exactly where he goes. A first-class ticket delivered by Cloman Airlines, seating 4.
And Cloman also hits the shatter there, gets everyone. The nano from Lashner allowed him to continue swinging to clean up. Skyfox is going to be holding it forward very aggressively here. Going to be holding close, trying to deny a lot of the initial impact for Shadows, deny that EMP building. Shadows get slept and killed, actually. So Lastro continuing to watch out.
This has been very decisive for the Skyfoxes. Clips getting staggered. Second gen just bleeding time of their own volition. There comes a time where you need the reset.
And the worst part for second generation and the best part of Skyfoxes is Buds has equalized EMPs here. They're equal in the EMPs. They have rally. They're in a good position if they want to just look for a very aggressive fight or potentially just burn more onto the second gen and just what's next.
Well, both Brigida's going to rally here. Coleman under a bit of pressure early on. Belty gets hacked early in the fight. Shadows, though, says enough's enough. Drops EMP. Skyfoxes, though, is back out. They lose Mac, though, on the retreat. Down to 5. Buds, though, counter EMP. And the rest of the Skyfoxes, they're all in. They drive forward. Cloman lands the shatter. Socks right on out of there. And that's going to be Skyfoxes stopping this right here now, beginning of point C.
And the EMP was, and Trance was out for second generation, and they got 0 cleanup. Absolutely 0 cleanup from the EMP and Trance. There was no frags. They were able to get Mac, but the problem is that's not impactful enough. He didn't even have beat. They needed to just be ready for the counter EMP, get ready for Cloman to drop the shatter, and they weren't. They need to get way more frags with that.
Very much so, and now, of course, Skyfoxes, they're working with very straightforward win condition here, and what is that? That's just simply getting to the beginning of point C, where Skyfoxes, they're not going to really have the issues that second generation had, where second generation, they come out of the gates blazing with the DPS heavy setup, and then suddenly they're forced and focused to change over to something they don't want to play. What Skyfoxes wants to play is what you really should be playing right now, which is a lot of 3-3.
Yes, Skyfoxes likes to play what we call the good composition.
What we call the meta.
We call in the business the good composition.
Where, by the way, if you had any hopes and dreams of tuning in to Stage 2 and thinking that it's going to be different, we've heard otherwise. Not just us, but
we have heard otherwise. It might be slightly different, stuff.
More Winston goats.
But Brigida still very much a very strong hero. They haven't touched the old armor pack. Diva also just continually be the best tank to ever touch the game. So.
Or as Unco said, if you could imagine in a French accent, GOAT is still the meta. Said proudly on Twitter.
I can't imagine GOAT is still the meta. I can't imagine him saying that. That's pretty... It's a little out there, but I think Unco said it before.
Unco taking the big risk there.
Taking a really big risk there, Unco.
But the point is, it's a comp that Skyfox is good at. And it's a pretty good comp to be good at right now, whether it be now or into the future.
And Horthic wins that initial Widow duel, taking out Shadows. Going to get the res from Eclipse, though. Skyfox is going to be running this 3-3, and also, Buds are just going to make the... not Horthic, actually. Horthic making the swap back onto Brigida. Just went for that one Widow frag, but going back to Brigida. He's like, there you go.
And Shadows chomped on the one-up mushroom right beforehand, so he gets another shot here. But the pressure is still felt, where he's not able to pressure for a while. Skyfox is instead taking the initiative, moving the payload very heavily here, and they catch Socks! He's unable to rotate around, and the pressure from the back alley from the Skyfoxes more than enough. Second generation completely thrown off the point.
That was a great flank from Skyfoxes. You notice that second gen were playing more of a slow style. They had Felty on the Roadhog. They were playing that solo heal style. And Lasher just flanks around the alley, gets the ante onto Socks, allows the setup, and that's sort of how you need to play against that setup, is getting the flanks. Bud's already 57% to the EMP as Shadows makes the swap himself.
So Shadows going back over to the Sombra, but this is going to have to be a mammoth point B hold for second generation if they are going to get a map win here in the series. Series, of course, already Skyfoxes, but map score does matter. Even for second generation now, where realistically speaking, if they do have a chance to make playoffs, it would require this win and more.
Look at this rotation from Skyfoxes. They're actually going to try to take the fight here. The anti's out again from Lashro, the flanking anti. That's setting up Skyfoxes to win.
And look at Bip, doesn't get any healing for a long time as a result. Bud's there on the easy alley-oop. And it's Skyfoxes just cleaning up. First fight on point B, going to be theirs in the payload. Not really showing a whole lot of signs of stopping.
Lashro is just getting so much value out of these anti-nades. At every opportunity, he's flanking, throwing a nade, allowing Skyfoxes to clean up. There's no healing on the field. And Buds has EMP. Shadow still doesn't have his. This is going to be a fight one for Skyfoxes.
I mean, scouts take notice, pure and simple. Lastro plays Ana at an OWL level. It's undeniable. It's been his signature hero, and anytime we've seen him on it, he's been fantastic.
You're sounding very close to that runaway copy pasta initially. I was like, oh no.
Ironic. But the EP's going to be dropped, and Skyfoxes just easily clean up after it. And it's like the will to fight has drained out of second generation here as the Skyfoxes. This has been a clear flight with no turbulence.
To be fair, second generation, even if they had the will to fight, did not have any ults to fight. So when the rally and EMP is used, you sort of just fold over in half.
Contenders is
nothing.
Contenders is not an anime. You don't just need will to fight, you actually need power as well.
Yeah, they did not have any power there. They did have nothing to really win the fight. Now they're holding high ground. The anti comes out again on the second gen.
Nano boost Clone Man like a god descending from the heavens, swinging the hammer of Zeus.
A lot of very fantastic triggers for Clone Man there.
I mean, what else?
He decides to just drop the shatter because the fight's over. It's done. Second gen can't touch.
He decimates the mountain inside.
And that's that.
To show his power to the peasants at the very end.
I'm loving this God of War-esque narration.
What else am I supposed to say? Skyfox is just completely dominated. Guy going to...
They did. And, you know, there was actually such an incredible level of domination that, you know, they forced second generation to make those swaps up at first. Yeah. And they still didn't have a single ult for last. They were just getting continuously rolled over. It was doormat cosplay. They were just walking all over them.
I have nowhere to go from there.
Second gen was just like, oh, the door's open. Come on in. Just wipe your feet.
I have all the war references, but I got nothing to top that. I mean, an apt descriptor for the final round there was Skyfoxes. They end it with a bang. Second generation, they didn't hear it. You know, tree falls in the woods, doesn't make a sound. Second gen, they didn't even show up.
No, they did not. And that's going to be the clean 4-0 for Skyfoxes, who's now 100%, you know, they've invested, they've, you know, secured their spots in playoff. Second generation, they're probably out unless, like we talked about, some miracle happens. But, and I've seen miracles happen. I don't say it's impossible. You know, it's always...
Again, plural.
Yeah, plural.
Many miracles.
Many miracles.
not just one.
Not just one, but many.
But the type of thing where you just wonder what in the world has happened. But yeah, either way, not fantastic for second gen. Likely facing relegation. Skyfoxes, though, continuing their path of improvement here. Much better here to start Contenders this year than they were to end last. But guys, that is going to be doing it for us here tonight. That was our fourth match. We will be back next week for more Contenders action where, again, things getting awfully interesting here as the final playoff seedings are going to be determined. You won't want to miss it, but we'll see you guys then.